And before we get started with today's presentation, which is AVST Pivots to the Cloud, I just want to let you know that the slides are available to you. We have those in the handouts area in the webinar panel, and we will also send you a follow-up email later today with a link to the slides as well as a link to this recording. And of course, as always, if you've joined us before, we'll have time for Q&A at the end, and you're welcome to type your questions in at any time. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Tom Menifee.
Great, thank you, Ann, and thanks everyone for joining us today. We're very excited to present to you a new offering that we have as we move into the wonderful world of cloud. I'm the CTO here at AVST and responsible for the product side of the house. And as mentioned, very excited to present to you this morning. If you've probably the reason that you're on the call today is that you're looking at cloud technology. It's definitely a big topic in the IT space as companies are really looking at how do you move from everything within your IT department being managed and controlled by your IT staff to moving towards cloud solutions, software as a service, unified communications as a service, whatever as a service. All the analysts are lining up behind this trend, and there's definite interest there. Certainly from an AVST perspective, we're having conversations about the cloud in various forms with our customers and our partners on an increasing basis. And because of that, we are meeting that need and taking our product into the cloud and offering it to our current customers and certainly our prospective customers as well. Really, when we look at it, it's a matter of choice. It's not a you change what you've done in the past and stop doing that and move to a 100% cloud offering, both from what we're seeing our customers do as well as our analysis in terms of how to take product to market. It really is a matter of choice. And so it's a choice of how you actually consume something, how we as a manufacturer deliver something, and better yet, the freedom to change. So if you head down one path, which today, the vast majority of our customers are all using our software in a premise-based deployment model or a private cloud model, provide our customers the option to move that into more of a public cloud offering, and vice versa. If you're in the cloud today and you decide for whatever reason you want to pull that back within your own infrastructure, the opportunity to change that. So changing the delivery model as well as consumption. So is it you purchase a license and pay for maintenance over time, or do you pay as you go on a subscription or consumption type basis, and change that decision down the road. So we're going to present all those different options to you today with the main focus of trying to educate you on the new piece of it, which is the cloud offering of the CXC product. So if you look at kind of historically what we've been doing to get to this point, we've made investments over the years where when we came out with our version 8 back several years ago now, it was really designed for a private cloud architecture, so that for those of our customers that had invested in data center technology, many of our customers have a primary data center and then they have a geo-redundant data center, and they want to deploy their applications in that data center infrastructure where they can fail over from one data center to another. CX8 really was designed for that exact environment where we have remote survivability, and we have disaster recovery and high availability type solutions. So we invested in that. We've invested on the other things that are in the cloud. So things like Gmail or Office 365 from a messaging or a groupware type environment. Hosted PBX solutions, so BroadSoft and GenBand, and now Microsoft's Skype for Business. There's a lot of different solutions that have started to move into a cloud or hosted environment, so support for those. Increasing our scalability, increasing the support of virtualization, which is a often used technology in a hosted environment. And then moving towards a different licensing model that can support a subscription model and can support reporting and that sort of thing. We've made all those investments over the years to really get ourselves to the point where we can offer up our enterprise solution in both a on-premise private cloud type offering as well as a hosted subscription type offering, and that's what we're going to talk to you about today. Again, just a kind of a dive into a few of the views from the analysts. Unified communications has always been this way, at least in our view, where it's a multi-vendor solution, and that is especially true in a hosted offering. Not as much if you're a small business. We're seeing small businesses go to a kind of a complete solution in the cloud, but our enterprise customers, which is really where we focus our R&D, those customers really are combining different vendors. So there's Cisco shops and Microsoft shops and Apple shops, and they've got a lot of technology from different folks, and the key is how do you integrate all that together, and that is even more important in a hosted offering where not only do you have different vendors, but you have different deployment models where some of your communication technology is housed and run in your own infrastructure, and some of it you're subscribing to in the cloud. So how do you make all that work together? And that's really what we focus on. If you look at the overall cloud opportunity from a market perspective, again, we cite Gartner a lot, and this data is from Gartner. If you look at the overall unified communications market, and this is a worldwide number, they're projecting it's a $40 billion opportunity. A big portion of that, over 30% of that really is cloud-based telephony and messaging, which is the space that we primarily fall into. So it's a big opportunity for us. That may not be important to you as a customer, but I think it is important for you to realize that this is a big opportunity for vendors like AVST, and so you're going to see us make strong investments in this area. So this isn't a let's give it a shot, see how it works, and then we can back away from it if we aren't happy with the results. There's tremendous opportunity here, so you're going to see vendors like AVST truly invest in this opportunity. If the way we look at it is premise-based purchases and deployments, they are on the decline. They've been flat for a while, and we're starting to see those decrease. And that spend is being replaced by cloud-based purchases. Here again, according to Gartner, it looks like that'll cross over sometime next year, where cloud-based spend will surpass premise-based spend. Now keep in mind, this is just new purchases. This doesn't take into account ongoing maintenance that's being spent. But as far as a new system, if you will, being purchased, we believe, and the analysts believe, that that'll shift towards cloud-based purchases. If you actually combine in the overall spend, so the ongoing maintenance, ongoing service, premise-based dollars still, are going to be larger than the cloud-based for quite some time. So if you look at this year, for example, it's still 70% of those dollars are on the customer premise, and 30% are in cloud. But that number is changing, or the split is changing, and we'll see more and more of that go to the cloud. We don't actually expect it to be 100% cloud, because there's still, as customers, you still have to evaluate what's the best decision for you, what makes the most sense, and that's going to be on a application by application basis, where some applications you may choose to keep in-house, where others you move into the cloud. So there's always going to be a split there between the different models. And we believe, because of that, hybrid cloud remains the preferred model. This is by far what we see our customers doing the most of today, where some of it's within their own infrastructure, whether that's truly on-prem or in a data center type environment where you could call it as private cloud, and some really is hosted by another party, hosted and managed by somebody else. And it's the challenges, as I mentioned before, how do you combine all that together? How do you make it all work together in a unified fashion? And that is, it's that hybrid type deployment model that we think is going to be the most prevalent. But one thing is listening to the analysts, the other is listening to our customers. So I'm going to turn it over to Ann. I think she's got a polling question for you to see if
yes.
we can.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead and launch this. And so with what Tom just mentioned, we're interested to know what your plans are to move your telephony or messaging to the cloud as far as the time frame. And by the way, I will also note we're most interested in end customer information here. So if you're a reseller or a consultant, you do not need to click it. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what's coming in here. We'll give it a few more seconds to make sure that the majority of you have had a chance to vote there. Okay, results are still changing. I'll give it another couple seconds. Okay, everyone, last chance. Let's see here. Okay, let me go ahead and share it. So Tom, it looks like 45% have said they have no plans. And then 3+ years, 32%, so about a third. 18%, 1 to 2 years, and then a very small percentage are planning within 12 months.
Okay, very good. Yeah, no, that's great. We really appreciate you providing the feedback, because it's one thing to listen to the analysts, it's another to get data from your direct customers. So appreciate the input, and we will move on with the rest of the presentation here. So let me transition away from kind of the market, the view, why we're pursuing this, and let me get into the details of what we're actually announcing. And in the announcement, the public announcement went out, was it last week, Ann? I'm pretty sure it was, or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was actually a little over a week ago, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we publicly announced this. It's available now, and it really is CXC Cloud. CXC is our enterprise solution, previously known as Call Express years ago. So some of you that have been our customer for a number of years, you may still think of it as Call Express, but it's our CXE or enterprise solution that we are now offering up in a hosted manner. So it really is. It's the same product, folks. It's not a brand new development where all the source code is new. It's our CXE solution that we are offering up in a best-in-class hosted facility. So we take our best-in-class enterprise communication application here, the CXC Platform, and we're hosting it on our customer's behalf in a public cloud facility that I'll give you more specifics on. So it's combining that product and offering it up in a different manner. So if you look at the two, they really are the same. We make some deployment decisions as to how we offer it, but it's the same feature set. So, all the messaging and team queue and IVR capabilities, everything that's within that platform, the speech recognition, it's available. We continue to offer it in the premise-based deployment model as well as now offered via cloud. We also expect to deliver fax soon, but out of the gate, as in right now, we aren't offering a fax component hosted, but we expect that will change here soon. On the interoperability side, there is a difference. We are supporting SIP-based integrations only as part of this. So just to level set here, when you take our platform and we set behind a PBX or a call control platform, and that's been true for years and years. The same is true here. We're going to integrate with a call control PBX solution. We aren't going to offer that ourselves. We aren't the ones saying, hey, now use the AVST PBX or something like that. We're going to integrate into your chosen platform, whether that be a hosted solution or it's housed within your facilities. So that is one difference, whereas our premise-based solution, you can use Dialogic cards or Aculab cards or whatever to integrate into your phone system. Our cloud offering is IP only, or specifically SIP only. And then the other difference is more of a financial one, where the cloud model is a subscription model, so you're paying as you go. You pay for the number of users you have on the system every month versus a big purchase up front, a capital expense that you then maintain over time. And I'll get into more details about the financial aspect of this in a moment. So when we talk to our customers, and I realized I paid attention and said 45% of you said you have no plans, and that's perfectly fine. We aren't here to say, hey, we aren't going to support the other model anymore. Everyone needs to shift to the cloud. We're perfectly fine with you staying where you are. But for those of you that want to move into the cloud, we thought it was important to provide you with a option there. And the reasons that we're seeing why people go to our solution is it's tried and true technology. So it's still, as I mentioned, it's the CXC platform. In the applications that we've been very successful with in the market, just offered up in a different manner. And what we've done is said, okay, we're experts in the application development side, so we're going to continue to focus our attention there, but we're going to partner with somebody that's an expert in hosted offerings. And so we're using a provider that I'm going to tell you more about in a moment, and really relying on them for high availability, business continuity, security, redundancy, all those things that you want when you move your applications into somebody else's facility. We gain the benefit of all their expertise. And then you also have, the reasons to move is that, and this is easier when it's a new purchase decision, is you then weigh the difference between, do I want to spend capital money up front and maintain that over time, or do I just want to pay as I go and pay on a monthly basis? And some applications that makes a lot of sense. Some companies it makes a lot of sense to pursue that because you may, your workforce fluctuates or your usage fluctuates, that sort of thing. So without further ado, let me tell you who we're partnering with on this. So the CXC Cloud solution It consists of CXC, as I mentioned. That's our stuff. And we're running that inside of Intermedia's data centers. Intermedia is a top-of-the-line service provider. They're actually the largest cloud provider around Microsoft Exchange outside of Microsoft themselves. They're the biggest player in terms of if you wanted to go to somebody to host your Exchange environment, you could go to Microsoft Office 365. The next biggest guy out there is Intermedia. They're very appealing to us because they understand voice. They have some voice solutions. They're a SIP trunk provider, and so they aren't just a cloud provider, but they actually understand the intricacies of voice. So that was very appealing, and they've taken a very partner type approach to this, where we aren't just gaining access to resources through a website, but we actually have somebody to call and engage in customer opportunities and customer issues with. So we think they'll be a great partner working arm in arm with AVST to bring our technology into the cloud. So we rely on them for the infrastructure reliability and security, and then we're providing all the applications, the interoperability with your other communication solutions, and then certainly bundle all that up into the pricing model that is common for cloud offerings. So again, just to reiterate, we're taking care of the stuff on the left. That's our responsibility. We're depending on Intermedia for all the infrastructure piece, and I'll get into the details as to why we selected them and what their value prop is around interoperability. So again, from an application standpoint, I've said it twice, I'll say it a third time, it's all the same stuff. This is CXC, same product. Voice messaging, unified messaging, automated attendant, all the interop layer, the mobility functionality, speech rec, team queue, which is our informal call center solution, IVR notification, all those applications are available to you in a hosted environment, just like they're available to you on the premise. It really is the same product. From an interoperability standpoint, one of the things we are that's driving us when we make decisions as to what we offer up or how we offer it up, it all comes down to what can we do all within our hosted environment versus what really requires something to be installed on a customer prem. And so because of that, as I mentioned, this is all SIP-based integration. So whether it's cloud telephony or premise-based telephony, as long as we can talk SIP into that environment, we will support that out of our cloud offering. Email, it can be, again, it can be cloud-based, it can be premise-based. With Microsoft Exchange, we use all web services to integrate with that. So we'll support a premise-based Exchange server if that's what you have. For those of you that have moved your email environment, your calendar, and your contacts up into the cloud, if it's Gmail, if it's Office 365, we can support that as well. So from an interoperability standpoint, it's pretty broad. Let me jump into talk to you about Intermedia. So as I mentioned, this is their business. They are a hosting provider, and they offer specific applications, but they also offer up their environment to folks like AVST to house our applications, and we gain the benefit of utilizing all that they've invested in within their data centers. So they've got a 5 nines uptime, SLA-backed offering around the infrastructure itself. It's tier 3 data centers. It's, you look at what do you want to protect, and these are the things we can't always do ourselves within our own infrastructure. if you're in charge of IT, what are the challenges? It's how do you actually have redundant electrical into your facility? How do you have redundant internet service providers? You can do it. It's very expensive, so many companies do not. Well, in a data center environment, you gain access to all that. So all the investment that they've made in the infrastructure, we benefit from, and our customers benefit from. From a compliance standpoint, it's adhering to all the hosting type compliance requirements that are out there, and this is somewhat of a moving target where there's a lot of focus around this. So as new requirements, compliance standards come up, Intermedia is committed to pursuing those as well. So if you look at best of breed all the way down, so from a computing layer, they're very much a Dell shop using enterprise-grade servers with high availability built in. The storage layer is all storage area networks and fast disks and all that good stuff. Network layer, it's all protected and it's redundant and it's high speed. And virtualization, they're a VMware shop, so they take advantage of all the vMotion and all the VMware monitoring and whatnot that's available. So the environment we're running in is backed by best of breed IT providers here within the Intermedia environment. And then from a security and data protection perspective, it's all the investments in firewall technology, it's investment in network security, VPN technology. You can also drop your MPLS into the Intermedia data centers if you want to use MPLS. Physical security, so the sites are being monitored and tracked so that people can't get into the facilities. So no stone is left unturned when it comes to the reliability and security of the environments. So with that, let me jump into pricing just a bit. I'm not going to get into real specifics on this, but give you a general idea of how this is put together. So you end up paying a fixed monthly fee, and that's really consists of two components. It's how many base system components do you need, like how many different servers do you want? Do you want a web server? How many web servers? A lot of that depends on the scale of your operation. And then which user functionality do you want? And that's all bundled up into a fixed monthly cost that you pay every month. Built into that, we have something called Select Express Care, which is really where AVST as the manufacturer, our support organization is directly supporting our customers. And so that's built into this, where it's AVST involvement, both managing the data center environment, but then also managing your deployment within the data center and supporting you on that. You sign up for a term, which is we offer this in 1, 2, or 3 years. So the minimum term is 1 year. And once you've committed to that, that sets your pricing. There is some fluctuation that can occur within that term, but it is a commitment to pay for that term. So early termination would still require you to completing your term obligation from a payment perspective. If you look at the different components, many of you are familiar with how our product is packaged up today. We've really taken a simplified approach to this, where you can still decide how you want system server, call server technology, and a lot of that is based on the number of phone systems we're integrating with, the number of users that are on the system, that sort of thing, and we will guide you through the pros and cons of different approaches. And then the licenses are broken down into just a few options. So the base user license has voicemail, unified messaging, auto attendant type capabilities. There's still a personal assistant user license, and then there's a couple of TeamQ licenses, which is the call center technology. And then on top of that, you can optionally use speech recognition, the IVR functionality, the Notify Express. So just a few simple components that you can configure to your desire, and you can certainly change that over time. Okay, with that, let me jump into support. Just to give you an idea of how this works, this is still being sold through our reseller channel. AVST is very committed to our partner channel organizations, and this is resold by them to you, our customers. But AVST is responsible for a lot of the deliverables here. So we become the first line support of this. We're responsible for the infrastructure, which, as I've mentioned, we're using Intermedia for that. It's our applications, the provisioning of it, the backup of it, upgrading of the system, supporting of the system, that's all on us. The AVST partner actually does the billing to you, so the monthly billing comes from our partner. Anything on site would be our partner's responsibility, and they're still, you know, your contract is still with the AVST partner, and then we're in a support role behind our partner. As for you, it really comes down to you're responsible for the network between us and you. So whether that's MPLS or a VPN tunnel, the cost of setting that up between you and the hosted facility is on you, and then certainly integration access into anything that you want us to touch within your facility, we're going to depend on you to provide us access to that. So fairly simple model. From a support level, I did mention that this is all based on our Select Express Care, which provides direct access to our customers. So there's a customer portal that you can ask for changes to be made within the system. We can do add changes for you. You can also manage some of the system on your own. And then we do all the patch management and version upgrades and that sort of thing. You don't have to worry about that. That's all done behind the scenes for you within the cloud environment. From a professional services standpoint, we do get involved in the upfront deployment, you know, helping you through the process. If it's a move from your current AVST solution into a cloud, or if it's a new deployment type model, our PS guys will manage that process from front to back, and they will be the intermediary into the Intermedia infrastructure. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop. I think I've used up enough time where we still have, we've got a good amount of time where we still have 15 minutes or so of questions if you have any. So Ann, I'll turn it back over to you, and you can instruct on or remind them how to submit questions.
Okay. Yeah, so if you'd like to submit a question, we do have several coming in already. You can use the orange arrow in the upper corner of your screen if you have the webinar panel minimized, and then you should see the question box toward the bottom. So Tom, first question, is AVST encouraging existing customers to move to CXC Cloud?
Yeah, I wouldn't say encouraging. It really is, it's just a choice, and we don't, this isn't a, hey, let's get everyone over to the cloud and then we'll shut down support for a premise option. That's not anywhere in the cards at all. So we don't care. We would love for you to continue to use our software. We'd love for you to continue to be our customer. Whether you choose to do that moving forward on a premise basis where it's in your infrastructure and you continue moving down the path that you've been on, that's perfectly fine. If you want to move to the cloud, the good news is we've got an option for you now. But we're open to whichever decision you make. it doesn't matter to us.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, another question. Does AVST still offer technical training for the end customer with the cloud version?
Yes. So you're not going to, I mean, there's different types of technical training. So admin training is one thing. Learning how to install the product is another. There is no reason for anyone to learn how to install the product. You know, any of our customers, they don't need to learn how to install the product within the cloud environment because they're never going to do that. That's our responsibility. So yes, we will offer technical training to cloud customers. It's just there's no reason for some of it to ever occur.
Okay. There is a couple of questions about cloud compared to premise cost comparison. I assume you'd like to take those offline. We could have our individual sales reps follow up with those individuals.
Yeah, I can make a general statement though. It's not really apples to apples in that a premise solution, it's just the software, right? Whereas the cloud solution, it's not just the software, but it's the hosted infrastructure and it's the, you know, the managed service around that. So it's not, you can't really look at them as, oh, the cloud one costs $100 and the, I don't remember what I just said, the premise one costs $100 and the cloud one costs $200. That may be, but it's not the same stuff. What we've done from a software perspective, we've utilized the same pricing models, let's say, that we've had with premise, but then to that we add all the hosting stuff, whether that's, you know, infrastructure, whether that's service, you know, that's all built into that cloud offering. So it really is one where if you're a current customer, then you'd have to say, okay, if I move this into the cloud, what is that going to cost me, instead of, you know, refreshing all the hardware it's running on today or investing in VMware or, you know, whatever it may be. As you make those decisions, not just for us, but for other applications you have, then you might want to take a look at what does it cost to move into the cloud, and take a look at that. But it doesn't, as far as a, you know, new person coming in taking a look at the two, it's not an apples to apples comparison, so you shouldn't assume that it would be.
Okay. Next question, does Intermedia have a global footprint, for example, integration with PBXs in Europe and China?
Yeah, not today. They're moving in that direction, and there's really, for them, I mentioned they're a voice provider, and so as they move into other countries, it's not just to host applications like us. That's actually a little easier to do, but if you're going to offer telephony services, which they do, we aren't doing that piece of it, but they do. There is additional work to be done to make sure that, you know, your license, let's use that term, to be a carrier in those countries. So I know that they are moving forward with that, and as they move into other countries, we will be able to take advantage of that and offer up our solution through them in other countries. But today, we're offering this in US-based data centers only.
Okay, next, is this a shared tenant implementation or individual instances?
Yeah, great question. So these are individual instances where, as you are a customer, if you want to move into the cloud, it's just you. So within, you know, our product deployed in multiple virtual machines, you're the only one using that. Your virtual machine may be on the same physical host as somebody else, but you're the only tenant, if you will, with using CXC. We do, just so you know, this isn't really relevant to today's conversation, but we are investing in multi-tenant functionality as well that you'll see come from us next year, both for the premise solution as well as we'd be able to utilize it for the hosted solution where we could support multiple tenants. I view that more as that'll be nice for smaller customers that don't want to pay for all the infrastructure just for themselves, but they'd like to have shared infrastructure. I see us offering that moving forward as an option, but a customer, even when we have that, a customer still would be able to choose to have a dedicated deployment just for them.
Okay. And then actually there's a follow-on question to that, which is whether or not the customer has control on the timing of their upgrades.
There will be some. As we're just getting this released, we haven't nailed down the specifics on that, but yes, there will be interaction with the customer to plan that out and decide when makes the most sense. And some of that's going to be dependent on what else we're integrating with, how that's changing outside of our software. If you're, let's say, for example, there's you upgrade to Windows 10 or let's say Windows 20, and a new release is required to support Windows 20, then that's a discussion we'll have and plan that out.
Okay, another, is there any limitation on which carriers can gain access to Intermedia's data center?
I assume that's an MPLS question, and no, there isn't. I think we'll have to get back to you on the answer. I think there's a couple of preferred ones that they use a lot. I think level 1 or level 3 is one of them. I can't remember the other. So there are a couple of preferred ones that make it easy, but no, any carrier would be able to drop off MPLS into their facility.
Okay, thanks, Tom. We can certainly, I'll forward around that individual's specific questions in case additional follow-up is needed. And there's also a handful of fairly technical questions here too that I think we probably could take offline as well, just to make sure those get answered appropriately and not just too much detail. Okay. Okay. So actually, I'm just doing a quick scroll through here, and I think we got to most of these. And again, we would do follow up on each individual question after the webinar. So rest assured that we'll make sure we get those answers to you. And so with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Just want to thank you again for taking the time to join us, and look for that follow-up email that I mentioned earlier, which will include a link to the slides as well as a link to the recording if you'd like to revisit any of the content or make it available to coworkers who might be interested as well. Thanks, Tom, for walking us through all this great content and answering all the questions. And everyone, have a great day. We'll hope to see you on another webinar very soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Goodbye.
To learn more about AVST, please visit www.avst.com.